This week on Vaticano, Pope Francis welcomes the Ecumenical Patriarch of Constantinople, Bartholomew, to the Vatican. Learn about Padre Pio's vision for Catholic healthcare, and stay with us to participate in the holiest of soccer tournaments. For this and more, Vaticano starts now. Presence, communion, and mission. These three key words Pope Francis addressed to the young people of Argentina in a video message.
I ask you, how many of you read 2 minutes of the Gospel each day? 2 minutes. Keep a little copy of the Gospel in your pocket, in your wallet, while you are on the bus, while you are on the subway, on the train, or you stop and sit at home, open it and read it for 2 minutes. Try, and you will see how your life changes. Why? Because you will meet Jesus. You will meet him in the Word.
The second National Youth Meeting took place from May the 25th to the 27th in Rosario, Argentina, in view of the upcoming Synod on Youth. Pope Francis welcomed the Ecumenical Orthodox Patriarch of Constantinople, Bartholomew I, to the Apostolic Palace in the Vatican. Private conversation between the two Christian spiritual leaders lasted approximately 25 minutes. When the moment arose for exchanging gifts, Patriarch Bartholomew presented the Pope with an image of Our Lady, the icon of St. Francis, and a box of chocolates. For his part, the Pontiff donated a personally signed copy of his most recent apostolic exhortation, Gaudete et Exultate, and a bronze reproduction of the Holy Door. The Patriarch of Constantinople was in Rome to participate in the international conference of the Centesimus Annus Pro Pontifice Foundation. Patriarch Bartholomew is widely considered by the Eastern Orthodox Church as the first among equals. He's the spiritual leader of around 300 million Orthodox Christians worldwide. The Holy Father met the president of the German Federal Council and governing mayor of Berlin, Michael Müller. The president and the Pope discussed current events in Germany and the role and cooperation of religious communities in solving social and cultural problems. Pope Francis accepted the credential letters from the new Colombian ambassador to the Holy See, Julio Anibal Riaño Velandia. Mr. Velandia is 69 years old, married, and has 2 children. He has a diploma in international law and diplomacy from the University of Bogota, a master's degree in regional economics from the Federal University of Brasilia, along with years of experience in the foreign ministry and diplomacy. Pope Francis welcomed Bangladeshi bishops to the Vatican during their ad limina visit. The delegation was led by Cardinal Patrick de Rosario, president of the Catholic Bishops' Conference of Bangladesh. The bishops thanked the pontiff for his visit to their country and discussed the situation of the church and the plight of the Rohingya minority. At the conclusion of the meeting, the bishop presented the Pope with a drawing of the Nativity. Pope Francis made a visit to some students at a state school in the outskirts of Rome. The visit took the children by surprise. With tears of joy and strong emotion, the children sang for the Holy Father. The school is dedicated to Elisa Scala, a young student who tragically passed away in 2015 at the age of 11 from a form of leukemia. After her death, Elisa's parents launched a project in the school aimed at sharing her passion for books and libraries. With their help, a small space called Elisa's Library was established, and a project called Give a Book for Elisa was launched in order to fill the shelves with books. Today, the International School Library can count some 20,000 donated books in different languages from all over the world. Pope Francis' visit to the school is a continuation of his Mercy Friday custom, which he began in 2016 during the Jubilee of Mercy. The Centesimus Annus Pro Pontifice Foundation celebrates 25 years this year. Members gathered at the Vatican this week to discuss new policies and lifestyles in the digital age. Robert Nilowacek, in charge of the U.S. section of Centesimus Annus, spoke about Catholic social teaching at the conference.
About our responsibility as lay people and how we interact with society. And it's based on 3 principles. human dignity, solidarity, and subsidiarity. Human dignity, I don't think needs to be explained. Solidarity is a radical concept, really, because Jesus gave us a new demand. It's love your brother as I have loved you, not as yourself. That's a much tougher, radical demand. And subsidiarity, which demands on the basis of human dignity that decisions in society are taken at the lowest possible, efficacious, competent level. So those are the three principles that form Catholic social teaching. And as John Paul said, that is what lay leaders need to form their consciences on and then change the world with it.
St. Pope John Paul II instituted the foundation in 1993 in order to promote Catholic social doctrine. Centesimus Annus takes its name from John Paul II's encyclical letter in which he commemorated 100 years since Pope Leo XIII's landmark encyclical Rerum Novarum on the social teaching of the Church.
Our work, actually, John Paul set us up. Catholic social teaching is forever new, like the gospel. The message of the gospel is eternally new. Leo, when he looked around, Rerum Novarum, and John Paul reinforcing that, says, we need to reflect with these principles on what's going on in society today. So it's a continuum. Benedict had major statements on that, and Pope Francis has. So our title, Pro Pontifice, really is we're aligned with the magisterial teaching of the Church, and our goal is to continually try and bring that thinking and teaching to bear on the problems of society as they are today.
Robert says that most global problems today are hidden in the digital world, so that's the reason the conference was entirely dedicated to discuss them.
Most people will see the digital revolution really, look at 7 companies, which are basically have a global monopoly. In the US, it's Amazon, Apple, Facebook, and Google. And China has 3 companies, Baidu, Alibaba, and Tencent. These 7 companies have a global monopoly that's unregulatable, if you think about it. Who's regulating this global business? And what is the impact of this new model on families, on work? Because it's not a typical business model, which one we've never known. Our largest companies don't make anything or provide the product, or they simply are platforms to connect the producer and the buyer.
Robert says that Catholic social doctrine has an answer.
Don't confuse the means and the ends. The end of a system is for human development. If the end of the system is the system itself, it breaks down. It creates problems for humanity. And I think that's what the moral compass is about, understanding, not confusing the means and the ends. And as John Paul said, Catholic social teaching is not a philosophy, it's not a theory. It's a basis, he said, and a motivation for action.
Thanks for watching. Get ready to take a look at Holy See diplomacy in action. Welcome back. You're watching Vaticano.
One resolution of the General Assembly of the United Nations designates every April 22nd as the International Day of Mother Earth and invites to observe and raise awareness about it. Within this framework, the Permanent Mission of Ecuador and the plurinational state of Bolivia hosted this panel at the UN Geneva. The Holy See was part of it. I asked the Nuncio about his approach to the theme on the poster of the event, Mother Earth in its different forms of understanding.
We participate at the Holy See with a simple approach, very simple approach, which would be defined that the real responsibility for the environment has a definitive spiritual horizon.
Also, St. Francis of Assisi spoke of brother sun and sister or Mother Earth, so
poetical expressions, certainly. This is very acceptable, very beautiful.
The current world situation encourages us to consider that different yet equally important perspectives are even more intertwined and complementary.
Your Excellency, you spoke here about different perspectives, that they are complementary. But when we look at our planet today, it seems that these are actually the cause of conflicts and situations.
Yes. When we come speaking about the environment, about the earth, let's say so, it is so necessary for everybody. I would say it would be, first of all, necessary for the economists and people linked to the financial business. There is no unlimited growth on a limited place. And this is exactly the major problem we have.
What is the purpose of our life in this world? Why are we here? What is the goal of our work and our effort? Or what need does the earth have of us?
So what need does the earth have of us? Does God have of us?
Yeah. I think this question is certainly very complex and philosophical, you know. We're not speaking about only human ecology, we're speaking about divine ecology. So this is so important, no? That it's not only human environment, it's a spiritual environment, something much more. And this is, I would say, must be kept alive, otherwise we forget the real meaning. Otherwise it speaks just whether it's feasible or not feasible, but this is not enough. Sustainable, not sustainable. For the church, this is not enough. Certainly it's good, but it's not enough.
And God created us because He wants us to collaborate with Him.
Exactly. It is an interaction. It is an interaction that we do not understand properly, and certainly it's not you cannot simplify something this. It means human being is eternally in the dialogue of responsibility to God, which is a joyous dialogue. This is so very essential, I would say, for every religion also, not only Christian religions, also the other religions. Accountability of human behavior is always in front place, no? We are responsible.
So our abilities and how to use them, we always have to take the other into consideration when we go beyond, you know.
Exactly, you know, I would say the problem of human behavior that we judge just our close environment. We know myself, yourself, somebody else, and we think, oh, this is the world. And this is completely very dangerous perspective. The world is full of sufferance, lacking of possibilities, not enough resources. If you keep in mind the global world, okay, but basically, you know, all political campaign and all this saying are just national interest, or which is also important thing, but this is not, how to say, church as a religious organization, as a global organization, cannot accept this perspective.
Now, this was the first part of our interview. In our second part, we will speak about an ecological conversion, man's stewardship, and the attachment and relationship with Mother Earth, especially by poorer countries. Pope Francis described it in a poetic language in Laudato Si. The sun and the moon, the cedar and the little flower, the eagle and the sparrow, the innumerable diversities and inequalities mean that no creature is enough for itself, that they exist only in dependence on each other, to complement and serve each other.
On January the 9th, 1940, Padre Pio announced his plans to develop a healthcare project named Home for the Relief of Suffering. This project was fully realized, opening in 1956. And from that time onwards, it has continued to provide medical and spiritual care for thousands of patients. The Home for the Relief of Suffering is not only a modern-day hospital and medical research center, but also a new healthcare conception where evangelical values are implemented on a daily basis. This big campus constitutes part of that shrine of Padre Pio and is situated in San Giovanni Rotondo, Italy, 4 hours southeast of Rome. Jair Palazzolo's dream is to enrich the worldwide Catholic healthcare system with the vision of Padre Pio. To do so, Jair founded a non-profit apostolate called Catholic Healthcare International in 2004.
We plan on developing a campus called the Casa USA campus in the United States in the charism of Padre Pio as he developed his Casa Sieva della Sofferenza in San Giovanni Rotondo, Italy. On our campus will include a replica of a hospital built in that charism, the same values, the same spirit. We'll also develop a pilgrim shrine because there are thousands of Padre Pio prayer groups around the world that will come and pray with us and support what it is that we're doing. We'll develop a fully faithful Catholic medical school called the School for the Relief of Suffering, again, forming Catholic physicians to practice in the charism for the relief of suffering in a very secular world, and then a network of physician practices fully faithful, fully Catholic in their delivery of health care.
Catholic Healthcare International signed a formal collaboration agreement with the Home for the Relief of Suffering on October 1st, 2009, gaining permission to duplicate their model around the world.
Cardinal Burke has been our friend, our Episcopal advisor through the whole thing from the very beginning.
Of course, I immediately understood his vision because I had been a diocesan bishop for some 14 years, and I knew what had happened to Catholic healthcare and how desperately it needed to be restored to its origins as truly Christ-like care of the sick from the moment of conception to the moment of natural death.
The first facility that will go up on the campus will be the Pilgrim Shrine, because Padre Pio said the success of the Casa when he built it, as we are following the same way, has to be built upon the foundation of prayer from people around the world. And we've already got those people praying for us, but we want to have them come with us. And it's prayer, and in our case, Eucharistic adoration, because it's been my experience, it's been Cardinal Burke's experience, and I think every faithful Catholic has seen the fundamental impact that Eucharistic adoration has on the way, on people's faith and the way Catholicism is practiced, and the delivery of Catholic healthcare. We can't go wrong if we're built upon Eucharistic adoration.
The Church has this great gift to offer, a gift that Christ first gave in his care for the sick, but which has continued on through the history of the Church in Catholic hospitals, with these wonderful congregations of religious women and men who devoted themselves to the care of the sick. And now we need to reappropriate that, to reinsert ourselves in the living tradition of Catholic health care. And I really believe it will happen. It's a tremendous work. It involves tremendous sacrifices, but it's absolutely needed. We can't do otherwise.
A part of the concrete healthcare project in the state of Michigan and an educational program, Healthcare International has engaged in a campaign to establish formal Eucharistic adoration programs in the chapels of Catholic hospitals around the world. Jair says that in order to provide healthcare, it's important to see the suffering of Jesus in every patient. Maybe the mystery of suffering will never be understood, but we need to realize that suffering does have great value. This is why it's important for Catholic hospitals to place Jesus at the center of their healthcare activities. In a few moments, we'll be back with more on Vaticano. More on Vaticano begins now. The boots, the kit, the team spirit, and the coaches are just like those of internationally loved big-time soccer. Except that the players on this field are all seminarians, deacons, or young priests. After a quick warm-up, the North American Martyrs from the North American College and the Lions of Africa from the College of Propaganda Fide are heading to the main pitch to demonstrate Vatican soccer at its best. The atmosphere on the pitch is like that of a World Cup soccer match. A warm reception from the supporters, the national anthems, and then the holiest of tournaments. The Clericus Cup has begun with a whistle. The stands roar to life and the Lions of Africa start the game with a quick attack, but face strong resistance from the Martyrs.
Both teams have played 9 times in the tournament. This is the 5th time that both the Pontifical Urban College and the Americans have made it to the final, but they've never played against each other there. So this is an unprecedented face-off. We'll see who is going to win.
The game was equally spectacular throughout the second half. However, at the end of regulation, the score remains 0-0. To break the deadlock, the referee points to penalty kicks. The Lions out of the gate go top shelf right corner. Now's the turn for the Lions goalkeeper. This time the Martyrs would respond with a little finesse of their own. Each team is even, 3-3. Here's the Lions with the attempt, but stopped in his tracks. The door is open for the Martyrs captain, William Nice, who hits this nice kick, buries it. This final goal secures the victory. Final score, 4-3. After a wait of 5 years, the Clericus Cup goes back to the North American Martyrs.
It's been a joy. You know, the whole season has been a joy to play 6 games with seminarians and priests from all over the country, from all over the world, to get to share this moment together in view of our Holy Father, who we got to meet on Wednesday, which was a great honor. It's been a joy.
Team coach, Deacon Drew Olson from the Diocese of Madison, Wisconsin, is equally delighted with the result.
I feel great. This is the first year we've won in a long time. I'm the coach for the team. Yeah, it's been a long time coming. I sometimes feel like I'm just standing on the sidelines, but I'm very glad to be a part of this team.
We've learned a lot this season, and I just want to give thanks to God, to Christ, for this opportunity. We all feel so blessed to be here with the end of the year, end of exams. We're looking ready to go back to serve in parishes, summer assignments. I'll be ordained a deacon next Saturday, so it's a great joy to be able to carry this back and continue to spread the good news, what we've learned here, to bring to the parishes about the joy of the gospel.
Nice said that playing sports is also a way to learn to enjoy the good things that God gives you in a healthy way. Fraternity, good exercise, and health. Felice Alborghetti, the press officer of the Clericus Cup, says that this year's competition has brought together around 400 participants from many different nationalities and pontifical colleges. He says that apart from the fun of the Clericus Cup, it's also got a greater mission.
The aim is that they return to their diocese and promote sport also as a means of evangelization. And so this is what has happened in this 12th edition and what we have been promoting for 12 years.
This is why the Church has always paid particular attention to sport, because sport and faith share common values.